Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Ballroom Chat. I'm your host, Samantha with Love.Live.Dance, and today I am joined by four-time undefeated U.S. and World American Smooth champions, the owners of Dance United Ballroom Academy, the owners of Dance Vision Mastery Camp Las Vegas, and the co-owners of the Royal Ball, Marzena Stachura and Slawek Sochacki.
Yay!
Hey, we got there. Well, welcome so much. Thank you guys so much for being on. Welcome to the episode. How are you both doing today?
We're very good.
Well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Yes.
Excellent. And you guys are calling all the way from Poland. So first international episode, which is exciting.
Hey.
The amazing thing about technology is that we can all be a little bit closer in these times.
What's getting smaller now?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I like to start off every episode by just asking my guests how you got into the dance industry. What brought you into this world?
You want to start first?
Okay, I'll start first. So with guys, usually it's about the beautiful girls, and that's how I started dancing when I was 17 years old. One girl who was already dancing, she was looking for the partner, so she asked me to dance, and I tried first. I didn't really know what ballroom dancing is. I was a big basketball player at that time, but slowly, little by little, I like the atmosphere, I like the friends around, and then dancing itself. It's sooner or later hooked me in, and then almost 30 years later, I'm still doing it. So it's lovely.
Awesome.
Yeah, and for me, I actually grew up in a dance family. My parents used to compete together. My mom did her last competition, like a regional championships when she was 5 months pregnant with me. She kept teaching couples until pretty much the day when she delivered me. She was trying to hold it. She was still at the dance camp in August with her couples, and I'm born in September. So even until the end, I was dancing in her belly. And actually, when I was born, my mom didn't have any classes for kids. She started with me when I was in the first grade. She actually started teaching in our school. Instead of PE, we had 2 classes per week of ballroom. So we had my mom teaching us, and that lasted until I was 10. And then I decided I don't want to dance. But my mom obviously was having a dance studio, so I had to go to all the practices with her. So like it or not, I was there, involved. I was always participating, but not really competing until I was 15. And that's when I met a boy that I really liked, and he asked me to dance with him. So I was like, okay, this is a good way to start again. And that's how it started. He stopped dancing after 9 months. Then I had another partner. That partnership didn't work out, and then we met when I was at the end of high school, and we went to the dance camp to his city. My mom was doing the dance camp, and he was the only boy who would practice by himself 8 hours a day, and we were like, oh my gosh, I wish my partner does this. So luckily he didn't have a partner at that time, so we kind of started dancing together. And it's since 95.
Yep.
Yeah, since September 95 we started dancing together, and since then it was a great journey. We had obviously few little moments when there was a doubt if this is the right thing.
As everybody probably.
Yeah, as everybody. Financially, we were not maybe the richest kids on the planet, so we could not afford sometimes pursuing the 10 dance career, but we still like the 10 dance. So we kind of, that was the hard decision. But then when America opened the door for us, with a hard work and dedication, our dreams came true. So, so that's our little story.
That's excellent. That's awesome. Well, I think it's so interesting too that you both started at very different stages in your life, right? So for Slawek, starting at 17, I feel like most people in the U.S., when we were talking about the path towards amateur champion or eventually professional champion, you hear a lot kind of between rounds or between practices, oh, you're starting too late. So you can set your goals high, but you're probably never going to reach it. So I feel like you're kind of living testament that no, you can absolutely do this. You just have to put the hours in.
Yes, actually, my first teacher, when I started dancing, he said to me, you know what, you're way too old, because at that time he was working pretty much with the kids between maybe 6 to 8, 9 years old. So when I came, 17-year-old, he said, go back to basketball. You're way too old to do well in ballroom dancing. But you know what? That just helped me to actually become even more motivated and just to work harder, just to prove him wrong. Yes, of course, I didn't even dream that I'm going to become a Polish champion, not even thinking US. But it's just to achieve, goal after goal. It's just like they say, small steps to achieve a big goal. And that's I was just thinking one step, one goal at a time, and then it happened.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
But there's actually quite few dancers that started much earlier. Just from the top of my head, I know Carmen Vincelli. She was one of those that
she was actually 17 years old.
Yeah, she started, and look at her, Blackpool champion, world champion. And I believe if you put your mind into it and you really want to do it and you put your hard work, you can achieve anything you want.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I think that's awesome. So you mentioned that you started off as 10 dancers. Obviously, we know you from your accolades as smooth champions. When did we decide? How did we decide? How did that process go from saying, okay, we're doing this 10 dance thing, we enjoy it, but it's not working for us. Let's make the switch to smooth.
Actually, we competed 10 dance until 2005, right?
Sure.
Around 2005. And then, like I said, it was a little hard. We were still working for different studios. We used to get paid $25 for an hour to afford coaching in both styles.
Costumes, traveling.
Yeah, we didn't have sponsors back then. It was super hard. So from 2005-6, we decided to do ballroom only. So until January 2008, we were competing ballroom only.
So for like a year and a half, we only competed ballroom.
And back already then we thought, okay, we don't have all this money to go to Blackpool. We went one time to UK. We basically had no money left on our bank account because it was so expensive to go to take some lessons. And like I said, working for a studio, that was really hard. But it was funny enough that we start teaching so much more smooth at those days that we always start feeling that hunger of knowledge of smooth. So actually at our wedding reception in 2006, one of the biggest names in our industry, Tony Redpath, she kind of already started asking us, guys, do smooth. And we were like, oh, after the baby. So that was 2006, July, when we got married. And she basically started that. Then when I got pregnant in 2009, 8, with that pregnancy. Then during Emerald Ball, I was still dancing proam. Hamilton stopped me on the hallway and he goes, girl, what do I have to do to pay you to compete in smooth? And I started laughing. I said, well, you have to stay in line behind Tony Redpath because she was the very first one. So that's how we said, okay, after this baby, we will give ourselves 1 year. And that's what Tony actually said, give me 1 year and let's see if you like it or you don't. And we fell in love with the style. We actually thought we were done. This is it, baby time and just a family. But because we taught so much smooth, we just thought, like, for the worst scenario, we're going to be much better teachers, right? So that's how everything started.
And this was actually the main reason. We just said we want to be more experienced about what we actually teaching. So that was the main reason we decided to actually.
Yeah, and then when we started learning, we fell in love, and we're like, oh my gosh, why did we start doing this so late? We were so like upset a little bit with ourselves. But then when we did our very first competition in Palm Springs, the result came in immediately. We won the first open and we're like, okay, wait a minute, we can do something with this. So the whole family was so motivated. My dad took all 4 grandparents. He literally sit them down and said, okay, now it's our time to step in and help them out. So they were basically flying all the way from Poland, through entire 5 years of our competing in smooth, taking turns to help us with our son. And they actually came with us to every single show, every competition, every teaching job. We took them with us. We always spent a couple of days after to kind of show them that place. So we got to travel a little bit together. And I think that's why the family is so close. And the kids, they love grandparents. They want to be with them all the time. So that's why during this COVID time, we decided to be here, because anyway, we can teach online anywhere. And at least they have a beautiful time they can see how it is to have grandparents every day, right?
But yeah, that's how it started. And without parents, our parents, it wouldn't be possible, because we never hire any help.
No babysitters.
No babysitters. So it's always the grandparents. So when we practice, we basically more or less did it by ourselves. Sometimes there was someone in the studio, took our son and just tried to take care of him.
We had like Olga Ginsburg running with the stroller when we had the first choreography lessons with Tony Redpath. So it was a lot of fun memories. I don't think anybody from our friends in the studio believed in us, because they said, you guys are crazy. There's no way you will compete with a child.
So it was challenging. But you know what? I think like my beginning, when someone told me that you're not going to make it, I think that's as well, seeing that, in people's eyes, that they were sort of looking at us like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. It actually kick us, even more with motivation, saying we can do it, we can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like when the odds are stacked against you, that's when you're like, all right, I'm going to bear down and I'm going to figure out a way to do this. Absolutely. Well, and I think too, this kind of echoes one of the early conversations that I was having with Krista True Darrington, was there is this stigma of you can't have kids and have a professional dance career, because how in the world are you going to balance it? And the answer is you have a really great support network. You call on family, you call on friends, you call on other professionals in the industry to be like, hey, I need to spend an hour just going through this routine. Can you please play with the baby, right? We all love the studio baby. It's kind of like a toy that we're all like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. So I feel like it is 100% doable. And part of that is just talking about it and saying, yes, this is something that you can have. And if you are starting at whatever age, this is something that you can be successful in. You just have to find the way and put the time and effort into it. Absolutely. You brought up online training and the fact that because we're in this kind of weird time where a lot of us aren't able to be in the studio, or we're trying to limit the amount of time that we're spending face to face in the studio, you've taken this opportunity to spend it more with family, but you're continuing your education with your students online. So what was that adjustment period like? What tips or suggestions would you make for instructors that are moving to that mindset, or what reassurances would you give to students that are maybe on the fence about, do I want to do online education, or do I want to just wait and hope that this ends in November, December, February, March, June of 2021?
Well, I think the most important thing in our situation is that we already teaching online for about 4 years now. So we have quite a lot of experience already in that direction. So for us was pretty sort of smooth and natural choice since we couldn't organize our dance camp, to start online project, which really became very useful, I think, for both sides. So that's sort of the reason why we did it, and it became really, like I said, very successful.
Yeah, but what we said as well, when you teach online already for 4 years and you see that this actually brings benefits to the people, at the beginning we had the same, oh my gosh, how you can explain that? We normally touch, we go through the motions, but we become so much more precise in explanation. And very often we actually find much shorter versions of what we would show with the muscles and by ourselves. And when we teach these days, proam students, we teach amateur couples, we teach professional couples that they are on a regular basis. And we started almost immediately when this happened. Maybe 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, we already start teaching online. We basically as a teachers, I think not only we became so much clearer, like I said, with the information, but our eye, it's so much more trained that you see all the little nuances that normally before maybe you wouldn't even pay attention to. And we see tremendous progress in those people who have been working with us on a weekly basis, bi-weekly. But it's truly amazing to see how much better they are by themselves. And professional couples, it's easier because they already have much more experience. But when we talk about the proam students and amateur couples that very often don't have the luxury of having those lessons so often, we actually see how they improve. And that's actually the biggest award for a teacher, when you see that your students, your little babies, they are doing everything by themselves. And they're perfectly balanced. They understand their body. They understand which muscles they have to use, because the teacher is not there to support them.
Right. So they become so much more independent. The self-awareness is growing so much, because now they obviously hear informations they might see a little bit on a obviously computer screen, but it's not the same as in the real life. So they have to digest and absorb those informations much more precisely in their heads, and then transform into their bodies, into the movement. So that's why the learning process actually it becomes much faster. You would think it's not going to happen like that, but it's actually, we are both amazed how much quicker students improve right now.
And we work normally, like we've been talking about this yesterday during our interview, when we were actually the one in your shoes. And what is very important, we finally have time to work on the details, where normally we always in a hurry because there is competition after competition after competition. And this is a great tool to push us to be the best as well. But now it's like we kind of took a step back to push 10 steps forward, because we all put so much more effort into technique and to become much more aware of the internal body, not so much about actual performance and dancing the routines from beginning to the end.
And that's what we are big believers anyway. So it probably suits our way of thinking and our way of how we approach dancing in general anyway. So
Definitely.
So for all the teachers that they're somewhere there and you guys are hesitant, try it. Give the little steps to your students and give them all the technical things. They don't need to run the entire routines to become better. They actually, most of the time, they're going to hurt themselves doing this. When they work on the little details, they have actually a huge amount of possibility, I would say 99%, to be successful. And they will, when they come back to the studios and you can dance with them, you will feel how much more balanced they are. They are on their feet, they're lighter, they know what they're supposed to do, and you can just basically give them timing, direction, and that's all. So
we think for the future, when things will get back to normal, we think that the online teaching will stay as a very important part
and look, you don't have to fly anywhere. You're saving all this money instead of flying and spending thousands of dollars from flights on a hotel. You can take lesson with anybody on the entire world. I believe there is 90% of the teachers that they are the best in the industry, that they are doing that camps that they are cost $20 a class. I'm like, this is like, if someone likes to go to Starbucks, that's how you pay for 4 big drinks. Or if you go to Jumbo Juice, I think you can afford maybe 3 Jumbo Juice, right? And you can have a class with a world-class coach and listen to their opinion. In the worst scenario, at least you know what they're looking for when they're judging you. That's like the worst. If you don't understand, at least you know what they like to see when they're judging, and maybe why they didn't mark you to win.
Yeah. So, a couple things that I want to key in on that you mentioned. The first is specifically when you're working with proam students. I 100% agree. I started doing online virtual lessons just out of survival. Like I can't not teach, so how can I still connect with my students? How can I keep them motivated? And for my gentlemen that I compete with in a proam basis, or I'm working on getting them into the competition world, I have noticed that in the last 2 months, I have used so much of my time and effort focusing on just their ankle activation in the rise and fall and waltz. That is something that I would never, if I was in a studio with them, I would just be getting them through the paces and like, please learn this routine so that you could potentially lead me someday in the future. But now, because I can't physically be in that space, I'm really pushing them to understand every bit of that process and every bit of those foundational elements that we normally don't get a chance to really dig in deep on. So I would 100% agree that switching to that online format gives you such the ability to hone your eye, hone your focus, and really push your students in a direction that is going to make a huge difference in their dancing. The other thing that you mentioned was just access to quality dance instruction at a very high level for a very low price. I think depending on where you're located in the country and what the size of your student or studio base is, it's very difficult to fly instructors at a certain caliber out to do one-on-one coaching, or to do a mastery camp, or to do a short form 2-day workshop lecture series. So now that we know that this is possible, now that we know that we can get everyone in our living room potentially, I think that opens up the opportunity for people in those more remote locations or working with a smaller student base to be like, hey, no, I can bring up Slawek and Marzena, and I can pay them maybe a little bit less because I'm not having to cover airline tickets and hotel, but still a good amount to work with my students and to see in that virtual world. So I think that's absolutely fantastic.
If I can, even these days, people are doing medal tests online. People are passing judging exams online. Everything became so much more accessible. So there were so many different ways. And at the beginning, when we actually offered to the students that we can do those exams, people were like, oh my gosh, we never thought about this. I said, there is no way someone is going to lie, cheat, or anything in front of the camera, because you can see them and you know if they know or they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they go and they start looking for answers on the wall, they have no idea what is the question about, right? So it's I think this is actually the best time, and we've been actually following so many different professionals that we used to work with when we used to do tendons. We wanted to train with them and listen to their information to kind of expand our brain and put so much more new information, new way of approaching certain things from the top class coaches.
Absolutely. Really quick from the chat, we have someone from Central Asia tuning in. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. That's exactly what we're talking about. Access is just wide open these days, which is fantastic. So I want to talk kind of along those lines about listening to the top tier coaches and getting more access to just hearing how they explain things. The Mastery Camp, the Dance Vision Mastery Camp, typically held in Las Vegas every year, obviously because of current circumstances, was not able to be held in person. So instead it was put online. I have a couple of questions about just kind of the behind the scenes of that. But first I just want to say thank you for doing that. I went out and I think the first day that it was available, went ahead and purchased almost the entire series, both the bronze, silver, gold level and the professional series, just because for that exact reason. I wanted to hear how Nazar and Irina are going to explain a rumba walk in American. Because if I can hear how they would explain it to a bronze student, I can decide, okay, I really like how they said that. I'm going to incorporate that in my own dancing. Or, you know what, maybe I didn't really agree with them there. I'm going to avoid saying that. Or Maxinista, Tatiana, you have amazing American professionals, and you also have incredible international professionals. So I wanted to ask you, how do you curate the list of instructors that you invite every year to the camp? And then what is your process for selecting what topics are going to be covered in each lecture? Do you leave that up to the instructors that you bring in, or do you have kind of a master plan of, we want to make sure that we hit all of these topics along the way?
So that's a good question.
Nobody ever actually asked that. Right?
So with the teachers, we try to keep the team as long as possible, for many years, the same team.
So we try to change as little as possible.
Yes, so that's one thing. Every year, though, we do a little survey for all the participants, and we ask them, who do they like, what do they like about them, who they didn't like, and why they didn't like them. So sometimes we had some amazing professionals, but they were too complicated for the level of the students. So remember, at the camp we have 5 ballrooms. We have the newcomer ballroom, bronze, silver, gold, and professional. So we want to make sure that the teachers that we bring, they can talk to everybody. If they can only talk to professionals, that's not a good, or gold and professional, that's not a good teacher for us. They might be amazing, but for the purpose of the camp, this is not what we need. We need someone who can talk to the baby beginner, the baby newcomer, that it's literally on the first 10 lessons, and we need to have the same teacher be able to give the best lectures for the professionals. So that's what's very important for us, that the customers are happy.
Being very approachable as a teacher, this is another very important subject, because it's obviously, we sort of build up like a sort of a family, feeling during a camp. So we want to make sure that the teachers are not only about coming, teaching their class and leaving. We want to make sure they're building the relationship. So
the students are looking forward to see them every year.
Spend time with them, just to meet them also as just a normal person, not just as this champion.
As we know, we have all people that they are such a champions that it's almost hard to talk to them. Yes. And we have people that they are champions that you never would know that they have won so many titles, because they are so easy to talk to. So with the students that we have a lot of seniors that they are coming. We have, of course, younger professionals and dancers, but we have a lot of senior dancers that they are coming to our camp. We want to make sure that they fall in love with the instructors. And when they fall in love, we know that in 95% they will show up next year, because they want to be with them and they want to work with them. So that's our kind of approach with that, like Slawek said. For the online camp, we expanded the group, because we didn't have to give all of them those minimum 20 hours of the classes at the camp that we have to provide, because that's what the contract says. So we could suddenly open up the door, and we invited a few other teachers that we actually are kind of, for us, we are testing how people respond.
Great way for us for the future. Maybe we could hire
so we can hire them in the future. So that's one of the reasons why we expanded. It was to show more knowledge and more variety of different voices, and for us to kind of pick who people like. It's not necessarily only our opinion. It's exactly what the customers are saying and who would they would like to work with. Because obviously we are pleasers and we have to please them, right?
So we are sort of in the middle. We want to make sure that the students are happy and they're enjoying what they hear from the teachers. But we also want to make sure that the teachers are happy to come to our camp and to teach and to spend time with the students. So we are kind of in between. So we want to make sure we please both sides.
Definitely.
And in regards of the subject, we try to bring up the best things that the teachers can offer, in our opinion. So we obviously know all of them for many, many years. We know their strengths. We know what is the best thing they can offer to the public. So if someone is amazing in choreography, we're going to ask them to do choreography. If someone is very technical, they are going to get way more technical classes, because that's what they like to do. This is what they are famous about. So we're not going to force them to do something that they don't like, because other than, then it puts stress on them, and it's no point to try to sell something that you don't feel good in, right? So that's one of the things. And every year we rotate the levels, we rotate the dances between the teachers. So
different level students have chance to meet different teachers, so we don't always have the same teacher teaching the same style. So also teachers feel more like they have to stretch their thinking. Sometimes they have to maybe think what to do very interesting for the very beginner students. For the next year they have to do something way more advanced. So I think again it's just kind of keep it exciting and constantly different and new every year.
But overall, we feel so blessed with the team that we have. This would be our fourth year that we would be running. Before, of course, Mr. Wayne Eng and Donna Eng owned the camp. Then we purchased the camp from them. But the team has been amazing. This year is supposed to be 25th anniversary of the Mastery camp. Well, we will celebrate it next year, hopefully.
That's the plan.
Have a huge 26th anniversary party.
Yeah. The 25th is kind of silent. It's online, so we don't count it. But the 25th will be next year with a big shows. And this year we're supposed to have Victor and Anastasia with us as well. So we hope, next year we will truly have the best camp with the best attendance, because already last year was so amazing, and we hope that we can keep delivering the best camp on the planet. That's our dream.
That's our dream. Yeah, bringing everyone closer to each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you think with kind of the success of moving it to this online format, obviously once we can be back in person, once we can be back in Las Vegas, we want to move towards that camp. Do you think you'll still keep an online component to it for those that that can't be there in person? Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Definitely. We know there's a lot of teachers, like you probably, right, that would love to camp, but you have to make your living. So a lot of teachers we have a lot of teachers that are actually coming with entire studios, pretty much. They bring all their students with them. We do offer special discounts for those teachers that they bring the team with them. We offer, if you bring enough, then you get an entire camp for free for yourself. So that we do a lot of stuff like this to work with those teachers, because we were one of those teachers. We wanted to train, and we want to support those teachers that they are investing in their knowledge, because with that our community is growing and we're getting better and better, right? But definitely what we saw is that the people that they purchased the camp, especially at first, were people that they've never been to our camp.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. It's completely
that was like a different crew. We were like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, this is such a different crew that it's actually buying, because not everybody likes Las Vegas. Not everybody likes casinos. Some people are allergic to smoke and stuff like this. Not everybody have possibility to travel. So we suddenly saw, oh my gosh, this is, I guess, our future. We will do a real camp, and we will offer online camps, so people can benefit from both. We always used to offer the DVD on the end for campers only. But with that format, we for sure will we will give them access to the online classes. But I don't think the DVD format will work anymore for the future. We will just basically have what we have right now. It's on a platform. You can watch it anytime, anywhere. So we know we had few little technical difficulties at the beginnings, like especially with the single purchases, because we added that at the last moment. And even our website designer didn't know why they would not get the classes that she put in their basket.
So we apologize for that.
Yeah, we apologize for that. But that was our first year. We all were learning. Even Ashley, she was really working to make sure that everything is working. And sometimes she says, oh my gosh, I thought this was done. And then the platform just didn't understand what we wanted to have.
But I guess with, from year to year, everything will get more and more smoothly, because, technology, we will understand technology better. So it will be all much easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think what's great, you have access to those classes for a year right now. In the future, we need to find out how this will work with all the, fees that you do to the platforms and everything like this, because obviously there's a lot of hidden costs that people might not realize, how much money you pay to have that kind of platform, to have all those classes available for amount of storage that we need, for all those classes. So hopefully in the future we can have those camps available for the people that they purchase for a lifetime or for 5 years. Obviously the information can change, but at this moment we know we can offer for 1 year, and then we will learn as we go how this will work.
So new, right? But yes, that's
the plan.
Yeah. Sure, we will learn and grow.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic having that in that online format. The platform I found super easy to use. I did not have the technical issues that some people had when they first got it. And for me, it's been great because I occasionally will have like an hour or two in between lessons, just because occasionally I don't have people that want to come back in person just yet, which I completely understand. But if I have a weird day where I've got some spacing out, I can just pop up my laptop, put on my headphones, and listen to a lecture for that hour that I would normally be just sitting twiddling my thumbs or working on a routine. So for me as an instructor, I have found infinite infinite value in it, which is just fantastic. I want to ask a quick question, which maybe not so quick. I was watching an interview that you both did with Wayne for the Dance Vision series. And as part of that, Marzena, you mentioned that from a judging perspective, you would love to see students spend more time working on the foundational elements in bronze. You actually likened it to the 5 years of elementary school and the 3 years of middle school that we have here in the U.S. and how you would like to see us spend more time in that bronze. It's to both of you, but Slawek, I know you are a top teacher in proam. You have a lot of ladies that are still competing on the circuit. How do you keep students motivated to stay in the bronze syllabus for longer? Because a lot of times as teachers, we run into this, well, I've done bronze for 3 years or 2 years. It's time for me to move to silver now, right? So how do you stress the importance of staying in those lower foundational?
You want to start?
Yeah, I can start first. So for me, what's very important is for them to understand that this is the foundation of their future. So the more they put time into this, the better foundation they will have in the future. And even if let's say someone stays for 4 years, right, in a bronze, or 3, maybe someone it's a little faster. It's very important that they go through all the steps that they are basically on a list. I would not miss a step that we would teach them, and I would want to make sure that they are capable to start dancing those steps by themselves. So we have to lead them. We actually train our students from the beginning, and I do this with my boys too, that they have to know how to dance their routines to the music by themselves. Because most of our students are very goal oriented, especially like Slovak ladies, they want to win the world title, they want to win the US title. That's one of the steps for them to understand when they will achieve this, they will be able to move up to the next level, because by law they cannot compete at the same level for the following year, right? So they can change to the younger division if they don't want to move up to the next level, but they cannot compete at that level anymore if they want already that US or world title. So that's one fast forward step. So if they work hard enough and they want to move faster and they win the US title or they win a world title, well, this is it. You know, we are moving you to silver. But obviously there's only one champion per year. So so they have to stay really motivated and work. But we put a lot of time for the technical stuff from the beginning. We don't babysit them. We don't try to make them learn just the patterns. We work from the beginning like we would train any champion, with the warm-up exercises, with understanding of their bodies. And I think they start becoming so much more mature, right, in their mind, that this is not just about the steps, that I already mastered the steps and I know them and I can move up to the next level. So that's like the one of the most important things for us, right?
And I always say there's a teacher for everyone. So some of the students, they, let's say, they see us being successful, us as a professionals, and then with our students, so they think, oh, I want to be one of these students because I want to do well too. And then after a lesson or 10, they realize, well, they push so hard, or let's say I thought I would be just dancing around, so they see that maybe we are not the best teachers for them. So they obviously, move on to different teachers, but it's obviously has to be a mutual, sort of connection agreement, right? That we sort of attach certain type of students to the way we teach. But speaking of becoming a US champion, I actually had a situation with one of my students that she used to dance with me 10 dance, and she won both styles in the bronze level. So she decided that she wants to learn smooth. So we kind of sat and started talking, okay, would we start from bronze or would we start from silver in smooth? So we actually end up starting from silver just because we thought, okay, we actually cover a lot of material in both styles. So we started from silver. And what's interesting, she actually won right in her first year of dancing. She won the US title in silver, which I was very unhappy.
Right.
And she looked at me, well, why are you supposed to be very happy? I said, I will be the happiest man in the world if you were second.
Yeah.
Because know you still have something to look forward to, yet you already see how much you've improved. But because you won, obviously we have to move to the next level. So then she realized very quickly, being in the open, how much more difficult the whole situation became, because then I was sort of sometimes, trying to be funny, sarcastic, saying, remember in the bronze level, we used to talk about this, which obviously we never went through bronze, but you see, even though when she was in the open, we had to still go back to a lot of bronze, techniques, let's call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, the easiest to learn things where you have easier steps. That's why I think when students realize that, it's actually very, short-term thinking. If you rush to the next level so quickly, then sooner or later you have to go back to
you
those
hit the
basics.
wall, and then you just go, I don't know this. So even when we do our like online group classes, we do it for many different countries. People, I think, sometimes expect we will do like crazy choreography and teach them something, and we are always talking about principle and the level of the steps that we choose to show them that very difficult technical stuff. It's on the bronze or silver.
Mm-hmm.
So we never actually try to show them something fancy, because we don't know what level they are in, but we know that information they can move from, that information will stay with them until they're professionals. So it doesn't really matter. So I always say, it's like when you learn alphabet, if you miss a couple letters there, you cannot read the books,
right?
No matter what. So that's exactly what we need to understand as a dance teachers and as a students, that we cannot miss few letters from the alphabet, because you won't be able to read successfully the books. So it's truly, I believe, the foundation. It's the best, the most important thing for our industry. And unfortunately, quite often we see how students are being pushed to dance way too soon, and sometimes it might be a student who wants to compete because they like the flash, and the teachers are trying to please them, but on the end we're actually hurting them. Instead of making their life enjoyable, we actually make it more miserable.
The great way of thinking about it is, if you have a student who is goal orientated, right, and they want to do well in competition, so you have one great moment when you move on to the next level, and then you're gonna struggle, because usually you're gonna be some probably in the back end of the competition, just because you're not quite there yet, and you're gonna have a students who decided to stay a little bit longer in a bronze or silver, but they have actually chance to do well because they're already becoming well known in that level, and they have so much more experience, so their confidence is growing. So ultimately, their competitive career becomes so much more joyful and successful. So it's a choice as well, which direction you want to go. But I think it's our jobs as a teachers to educate our students, because like Marzena said, some of them, they want to go very quickly to the next level, but I think it's our job to actually explain to them what they benefit from.
And the first teacher is the most important one, because I actually, when I start working with a lot of students, when we move from one studio to another studio, when we're still on a work visa, I was struggling at the beginning with quite few of my students, because they were taught differently. They were taught pattern after pattern after pattern, and there was really no explanation. So some of them, they said, but I come here just to learn those patterns so I can go and dance the best with the girls on a party. So sometimes it's hard, because you have those people who want to come only for social reasons. They want to go and pick up a girl in a bar, in a restaurant, in a nightclub, and that's what they want to show. So as a teacher, I think we have to be sometimes as well flexible. But saying that, I still try to give the best quality lessons with those students. So it doesn't matter what their goal was, that they want to be the best social dancers or they want to be the best on a competition floor. We both still here, I want to be the best. And I always keep saying, you don't want to be one of those guys who is yanking the girl and she needs a massage or acupuncture after the party. You want to be the one that she wants to dance on a party nonstop and say no to everybody else.
Yes.
So that's the biggest thing for me. If you want to be the best in whatever you want to be, you have to put effort into it.
So I'll just say one sentence to it. It's not about what, it's about how.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The thing that I tell most of the students that come in that just want to be good social dancers is, you don't want to be a good social dancer. You want to be a great dancer. because the best social dances that I have ever had, we just did the box step and a basic underarm turn, but it was with such quality that I felt like I was just being taken care of. It felt like I was dancing on a cloud because my partner had complete control of every single part of his body and how he was communicating with me. So if you want to be an awesome social lead, you just want to be a really great lead. And if you want to be a fantastic follow and you want to be the lady that everyone asks to dance with at every social party, you have to be really responsible for your own posture, your own connection, your own awareness. You have to be tuning your brain to listen to all of those little nuances and signals that you're getting from your lead. So you just really want to be a great dancer. And the patterns will come with time and practice, but the foundation stuff, that's what's really important. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Couple things that I want to make sure that we get to before we end today. I've seen a lot of posts on social media about your involvement with SRDS, and specifically bringing the smooth curriculum to Russia and other Eastern European countries that are maybe more in the international vein. What is it? How did you get involved in it? And what should people know about what's going on?
Well, we know this guy named Eldar Jafarov. So he's the one with his student Olga to start this project. And that's where the big dream was to have people fall in love in this American smooth, particularly in Russia. So they sort of put together this organization, and then they sort of start thinking who will be great teachers to help them to sort of grow that whole project in Russia. So we knew each other for a while, so they sort of look at us and they say, guys, we want you to help us. So they asked us in 2016, I believe, to dance a
show at the Champions Ball.
So we did a show over there so people could sort of learn a little bit more about the American smooth itself. And we did some lessons at them for the first time, and that's how everything started. So recently, in last December, we went to Moscow and we actually we filmed the entire syllabus for kids.
It's in collaboration with Dance Vision Kids. So we did entire the way European system works. It's slightly different. We don't have like in America, most of the kids, they dance like a pre-novice level, novice, and then they jump into open. We have classes here, so we basically divided all the patterns that are available in the Vida syllabus, and we put them into 5 classes: E, D, C, B, and A. So E it's the beginner class, and A it's like a already open level class. So the kids, they have to qualify on special competitions to move on from one level to another level. They have to. Every country might have a slightly different way of a system. Achieving those classes. We used to have to go for the classes that they were qualification classes, and only the finalists would be moving on. These days, they have to collect so many top 3 places, so they have to be on a podium plus so many points to be able to move up to the next level. I actually believe this is a great system for the kids because they have to learn again principles. They have to go through the foundation, moving up into from the bronze level for the silver until the closed gold, and then finally they can move up to the open choreography, which I think unfortunately we are missing this in America a little bit. We are moving kids way too quickly to open choreographies. But I truly believe this is a great thing. So we basically did this with Wayne Enck, with the Davida, and with Eldar and Olga. So we had a great 2 weeks in Russia in December. It was cold, but they took care of us, and we filmed all the classes. The website, I think they're still working on this. It takes a long time to make sure everything is correct. But
we have to put all the steps together. We have to do
the manuals, all the stuff. So it's a
lot of. Actually, we pretty much just finished like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. So
we're waiting for the website right now to be done. But Elder like with Olga, she basically said, I love smooth and I want people in Russia to fall in love with smooth. Right now, they're already expanding. They already start having studios in England that they start teaching kids and teaching American style. We are starting to do the same thing here in Poland. While we are here, we are taking advantage. I wish that we could go to more studios, but unfortunately we basically have just few people that we work with because of the COVID. And
well, the project itself was going really well, because this year we were supposed to have first time in Blackpool. For the junior Blackpool, we're supposed to have a kids presentation. This is what we had like about, I believe, 4 years ago, when professionals had the same presentation, where the top 6 couples at that time were invited to dance non-judge competition. So we were going to have the same this year at Junior Blackpool. So kids were getting ready. They were very excited. Unfortunately,
we're supposed to have like 2 couples from like 5 or 6 countries, 2 couples from Ukraine, 2 couples from Russia, 2 from Poland, 2 from England, 2 from America, and I think 2 from Asia. So it's supposed to be like a great presentation of the junior, and we were hoping, that's why we wanted to spend so much more time in Europe, to kind of help to push those kids to dance this style. But overall, SRDS is doing a great job these days, because they are doing workshops basically on a weekly basis with the top smooth coaches from the US.
Speaking of online teaching, they invite a lot of great coaches to
all of us, I think all the top, both of us, Tony Redpath, Jonathan Roberts, Olga Foropanova, Elena Kosovic, Tatiana, Sharon Savoy, all of us, we did classes for them. So they are investing this time when everybody are at home to get the knowledge to their houses, so they can push. And when we work with those kids, it was amazing. Those kids are truly brilliant. So
they really want to learn.
They really want to learn, and they're so focused. So we know in a few years' time, they're going to really succeed if they will stick to it. So that's a great thing. And a last thing with the SRDS, we were basically getting ready their team of professionals, getting ready to pass the VIDA exams through on a smooth. Right now, I know they start already looking into the rhythm a little bit. They already start getting some couples that they're getting interested in the rhythm. The rhythm, unfortunately, has a little bit more difficulty breaking into Europe and Asia for now, but hopefully
for the future. I hope when they will see American smooth become more popular, I think that the eyes after a while will turn towards American rhythm as well. That's what I hope.
Absolutely.
But it's a lot of project with SRDS, and we are really privileged that they have chosen us to do this. So we are very grateful to Elder and Olga for picking us from all those amazing dancers in the US.
Well, and I think that's fantastic too, that you're planting the seed with the juniors of this interest in let's explore smooth, but then you're also doing the really great job and the important work of making sure that you have professionals on the ground that are teaching them day in, day out, that are also capable and have the training so that they can continue even if you're not there, which I think is so very important, because it's fantastic to bring in top level professionals to teach for a short period of time, but you always worry when they then leave, okay, is the interest going to go away? So putting in the extra effort to make sure that you've got instructors that have taken their certifications, that you feel comfortable and confident that they know how to teach, I think is fantastic. And I can't wait to see where the project goes in the next 5 to 10 years.
We just pray, everybody. But I think Elder is doing a great job. They build up amazing studio where they have a gyrotonic equipment, Pilates equipment. It's like really outstanding.
It's a dream place to be at to train.
Especially for smooth dancers. It's truly amazing. So they are going to push their couples. And he's always kind of asking, guys, am I on a good track? Just look what I'm doing, sending us constantly videos to kind of make sure we are working as a team.
Awesome. 2 important topics that I want to make sure that we touch on today that maybe are a little bit less positive, but I feel like for fellow instructors or studio owners that are listening or competitive organizers that are listening, these are important conversations to have, especially now. So the first is I introduced you at the beginning as the owners of Dance United Ballroom Academy. I unfortunately saw the announcement that Dance United LH, you were closing as of July 1. Is that a permanent closure or a temporary closure?
Well, at this moment, the situation was really hard with the landlord. They did not help us at all. They requested 100% payment for all the months that we have been closed by government, by law. We
had to be closed by March, I believe.
Yeah, from
15th.
March till July, we basically had to pay $10,000 pretty much almost a month to the landlords. So as a studio that gives place to all the independent teachers, unfortunately, we did not get any help from government.
Because we don't hire any staff.
Yeah, so we are there's only 3 studios in Orange County that opens the door to independents, because we were one of them. And when the studio kind of fell on us, because we didn't plan to open a studio, we took over after somebody else. We wanted to create a home for many independents that they were struggling to find a big space. We would celebrate on August 1st. Our sixth anniversary. Unfortunately, the life have chosen different path. The good news, we bought a floor from Dance Vision, the Dance Flex floor, which is removable. So the floor, the music machine, the speaker, we have it in storage. All in a storage. So right now we're waiting for better times. We're just worried that this might not be the best time to start looking for a new space, because we don't know how long this will continue. So at this moment, we basically put everything into the storage and we are waiting to see what's going to happen. Hold.
So the studio project is on hold now.
Yeah, and we will see what will happen with the economy. Unfortunately, America has lost many jobs, so that might affect our industry. We're not something that people must do. We are kind of a luxury. So we just have to be smart with the next step. Obviously, we would love to have a studio like this that we had before, where we used to organize 3-4 camps a year. We did rounds, we did supervised rounds for students, we did professional rounds. It was really
so it was a place to learn.
Yeah, and we had mainly competitive students. So we never really were there to make money on the studio. It was for us to have a home and for us to have a place
anytime to teach. How long
we could organize stuff we like, the training camps, right? So, to just give back to the industry, because we never charged the teachers. If they brought 2 students, they already had a camp for free. So we always were thinking, the professionals, we need to take care of them to make sure that they can grow as a teachers. And because of this, the industry is much better. But unfortunately, the landlord, we tried till the end. We were begging them to help us out. They were just no. It was the only answer. They at some point they told us we will have to pay only the operational costs, but then suddenly it has changed that it's still 100%. So unfortunately, our new lease supposed to restart on July 1st, and that's why we
decided not to continue.
Yeah, we just had to say no to this project for now.
Yeah, and I think you made an important point, which a lot of studio owners are feeling right now. The U.S. has offered the PPP, the PUA, there were small business administration loans that were available, but for students or for studios that particularly were catering towards independent contractors and independent instructors, so non-franchised, a lot of us are I-9 independent contractors, right? So the PPP you can't apply for because you don't have W-9 employees. We know that a lot of the SBA loans didn't really go to small businesses, or if they were much, much smaller. So it did kind of unfortunately leave this gap where the studio owners that were paying rent and utilities on spaces that were closed by the government could not get money then from the government to help cover those rents. So hopefully when all of this is said and done and we return to normalcy, we'll be celebrating a grand opening somewhere of the new Dance United studio.
The floor is available.
right?
Yeah. So if you ever plan to buy a studio, open a studio, one thing that we always thought from beginning, it's to have removable floor. That's the best thing ever that I think we did. It's a little bit more pricey, but you can always take it with you or resell it to someone else if someone else wants to buy a
And
studio.
also, we can give you another advice. If you are let's say the teacher or the person who planning to open the studio, try to get the building, try to own the building
Yes,
if possible, because
if possible.
you're going to ultimately pay the same
Or
amount of
work with
money.
a smaller
Or
lenders.
smaller lenders. Yeah.
Our company was actually, it's like they have 1 million properties. We're just a little teeny tiny fish in a huge ocean for them. They don't really care for people like us. So yeah, if you plan to open a studio, either a
That's what we would do.
family-owned
That's what we
business,
would do in
something
the future.
smaller, or if you have any students who can buy a building and lease from them, or buy it by yourself, that's even better. That you have, some equity for the future just in case.
Definitely.
So that's
Definitely. Yeah. And dance studios, we're not looking for like a little 1,000 square foot space. We tend to want a larger open area. And it's very particular, the kind of space that we're looking for, which also tends to put you in that higher rental market, unfortunately. So I think you're absolutely right. Being able to buy or at least have a personal connection with the person that owns the building, and then make sure that you can remove your mirrors at the end of the day, make sure you can pull up your floor, make sure that the sound system's yours, all of those things, so that if you have to move, you can. On that same note of just kind of how 2020 has turned all of our plans upside down, you are the co-owners of the Royal Ball, which is a fantastic competition. It was unfortunately canceled for 2020. When we look at 2021, which hopefully we'll be back to normal, knock on wood, are you already starting to have conversations about what changes you're going to make to the way that the event runs for 2021, just in case? Are there going to be extra precautions taken, or are you hoping that if you have the opportunity to run it in 2021, that it'll be just like it was in 2019?
That would be the best. That would be the best wish, because we had an awesome 2019. Yes, with us and David and Natalie Schultz, we own the Royal Ball. So the biggest thing is we actually were one of the first competitions that had to cancel, because it was right when the coronavirus was getting stronger. Slawek was a weekend before, or the 2 weeks before. You were still dancing in Las Vegas, right? And then the weekend off, it was already when everything was starting. He was in BYU judging the nationals. So that's when everything was going already. The world went upside down. We first got approved to change the date to June, to reschedule to June. And unfortunately, that day didn't work out either, because the coronavirus is still with us and we're already in towards the end of July. But we were hoping first that this will be over. It will be like 2 months, maybe maximum, and everybody will have a normal life. By May, we already were like, this is not going to happen. David and Natalie were like, no, we can do it. And we were like, with Slawek, much more like, I don't think this will happen. So we had to make announcement that unfortunately we'll have to cancel this year event. We did not even cash, we only cashed few checks that arrived in January and the first half of February. All the other checks that arrived,
saying is not getting,
we were like, even the people paid, we were like, we're not even putting this money to the account, because what's the point? We don't even know what's going to happen. In June, we still probably thought, oh my gosh, next year we're going to do amazing. We will add a few other scholarships. We're going to do this and that. And now when we keep looking what's happening on this planet, we're like, oh my gosh, are we going to have our Royal Ball in 2021?
So we started worrying about 2021.
So if the situation will not get much better, but it will, let's say we can run an event. I'm worried if we're going to have a possibility to run our event into ballrooms.
As we usually do.
As we usually do. We have a separate ballroom for the kids and separate ballroom for the proam. So we might do everything in one ballroom because like I said before, I don't know what will happen with our economy. I don't know if all the people that they are on the kind of permanent leave right now from the ballroom industry, right? Are they going to return or not? There are so many questions at this time that it's really hard to
Quite
answer.
early to really kind of really.
Yeah, we still have like what,
about,
10 months, maybe
but,
less.
but we
9.
think based on, let's say, what's going to happen in the studios, that for sure it will take a while before we'll go back to the same traffic in the studios. I think the same will reflect what's going to happen with the competitions. Less people in the studios, less people in the competition. So unfortunately, we think that some competitions actually might even either change the owners or maybe even be completely removed from the calendar because it's a lot of them, and less students will obviously be participating. So that might slowly kind of change a little bit until we'll build that back to what it used to be. But so we think for sure that most likely this coming year, if we're going to run it, it's going to be one ballroom,
because it costs so much more to have two ballroom. Double panel of the judges. We have 21 judges on one day event. So some multi-day events don't have that amount of judges. Then we have everything double the DJ, double the MC, everything is double. So we have to think logically. There we have so many expenses with the hotels. People don't understand what organizer goes through. We see those posts that, oh, we spent all this money and the organizer makes money. The organizer needs a minimum of 2,000 entries per day to make it.
Yep.
Because to break it even. Because we all have to, the best person, it's the owner of the hotel probably, because we need to provide hundreds of nights depending on the event. We have to spend so much money on food and beverage. And after that, there's all the costs of the floor, of the lights, of the music, of the judges. And the judges don't even make a great money on it, right? But with the amount and with the costs of the transportation, very often not in our case. But
the judges cost a lot, but they don't make a lot of money.
Yes,
right.
But yeah, so it's a lot of other things. So we kind of have to see where we will be next year, basically. If everybody are going to go back to the full dancing in the studios and everything will be great, yes, we will have two ballrooms and we'll go full on as we did before, and even better because we added those few extra scholarships. If not, we will just do what was done before by Paul Killick and Shirley Ballas before we bought it from them, that event. They had everything in one ballroom. It was still gorgeous. They still had a gala. Everything was done. Or we can move the gala to the night before and have a full day of competition. So there is still a lot of possibilities.
We can play.
Yeah, but at this moment, we will just basically pray that this virus will disappear magically from our planet and we can all get back our lives. And I think everybody will appreciate so much more everything what we had before. Right? Because we kind of took it for granted sometimes, and we were just like, oh, I can go for my lesson, I can go to this restaurant, I can go to the beach, and suddenly we had nothing. So yeah, we were laughing that all this expensive stuff that people buy, it became useless when you're at your home and you cannot go and show everything, right? So we all had a different for sure
point of view, perspective on life itself.
Yeah. So I think all of us will appreciate all of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely shifts the focus into what's important. What do I want to spend my time, my money, my effort, my energy on? Absolutely. Really quick, we've got Morgan in the chat. Hi, Morgan. She says, I'm here. Hi, Marzena and Slawek. Maybe going forward, we look at venues other than hotels for competition. So that actually leads in really well to the comment that I was going to make. Which is very early in the pandemic, you judged an online competition in Russia, correct? So is that a direction that you would be even considering for the Royal Ball or for competitions in the US?
Well, that's a good question. the way you can say how was
Well,
the Champions
I
Ball?
had the privilege to judge this competition. It's called Champions Ball. So the way the competition was held, um, the students who participate this competition in the past, they had to provide a video of one of the dances they did for the organizers, but it had to be only from that particular competition.
So if you've never been to that was how they did it. So that was but I think that was probably one of the very first events like this that was done online. Obviously that limits the amount of participants, right? And they all were marking in the regular.
So we had actually 4 different teams of judges, right? So each group was judging only one particular style. So they had only smooth
judges judging Latin, smooth, right? Latin judges judging Latin, and so on.
And so we had few not actually in smooth. There were like usually 3 or 4 couples. Like in the Latin, I saw there was like about 7 or 8 couples entering. So it was actually way more successful. But you have to look at there was not too many smooth competitions in the past, right?
Sure.
So I think this is still good in a sense of providing some sort of activity for the students. I think this still will be something what people might consider for the future. Obviously, it's not going to replace the regular competition, right?
Right.
So that's something what
I would say if I would run an event like this, it would definitely, I would not do it how Russia did it. It has to be only from the Champions Ball, or it would have to be only from the Royal Ball. I would say you can pre-record yourself in a studio. You can pre-record yourself. I actually would like to see a current dancing of those people, not from a year ago, from 2 years ago or whatever, because it's not exactly how we would dance. And I would definitely do much more on a critique level, not on a marks. Well, we could do both maybe, but definitely a feedback to the students, what they could work on, because that's almost like a coaching, right? And they could basically choose if they want to do 1 dance, 2 dances, 3 dances, as many as they want to, and they will get a critique from a certain expert from that style that they dance in, which will be actually beneficial probably the most. And then they could have a placement against everybody else who entered that category. So that's always a possibility. I know Alex Novikov is starting something like this in September, and we were already invited to judge this. It will be like a 5-day event when they're going to get different things. I think his system is going to be even different because they're going to get judged on technical abilities, on a performance, and a few other things. I think there's like 3 or 4 different aspects and marks. So that's a possibility too, but definitely, that's something new. We all have to kind of look into it. We know like Srds Studios, they are doing a showcase of the students when they get critiqued. So all the different fields, they are trying to do something to keep the interest for the students, keep the interest for the professionals, because all of us, we kind of live off this, that we can go and show ourselves. And when there is no point of showing ourselves, there will be only very little percentage of people that they do it for the fitness, or they do it because they see that you get a much better memory, because it reduces dementia, right? So they will see a different benefit of ballroom dancing, but most people do it for the glamour. How many students, they like the dresses, the hair, the makeup, and this is their dream. This is their Cinderella time, right? So
I think, if let's say let's hope that at some point things will get back to normal, and we talk about the online learning, and now we're talking about online competition. So I think the online competitions will not continue to be present while what go back to normal. Where the online learning, I believe it will actually grow just because of the experience what we have now. So that's sort of the
but definitely I wouldn't do it the same way as Russia did. Just limiting yourself to the people that already participate at your event. And definitely I think the students will benefit so much more from a good critique, what I could work on, versus and that's how we did it, our like rounds in the studio. so much better to know what the particular judge liked about you and what they don't. What do you need to work on?
Critical,
Yeah,
like,
so that I would say that could be a beneficial for the students.
Definitely.
What format? I think it's still very limited. You cannot do 5,000 entries because who's going to write all those critiques, right? But
you know what? Who knows? Things. I mean, constantly develop. Maybe someone will figure out the way how to develop this type of competitive dancing into something what in a
maybe we can have
few
4
years
couples
time,
on the
in a few
screen
years-
at the same time
Right.
and watching who do you like the best.
You never
Just
know.
whoever is smart, listen and do it right now. We need you.
Right.
There you go. It's an open call. Put your brain power together and let us know what crazy ideas you have to make this work. Yeah, no, I think your point about we need to find a way to keep the interest going and we need to keep the momentum moving, because we know even before the world changed, if you had a student that took a month off and you didn't get them back in the studio and it went to 2 months and 3 months and 4 months, then you might as well just take their binder off the shelf and put it away because they're probably not coming back in. So we know that this is like everything else. It's habit forming. If you continue to do it, then you're more likely to continue to do it. But as soon as you take time off, then you reprioritize or you shift where your time is being spent, and the likelihood of picking it back up is difficult. So yeah, I think the focus on how do we get people continue, how do we keep people energized, how do we keep people motivated is a really great way for us all to kind of analyze what we're doing. We do have one comment in the chat, which I will just quickly read off and then we will ignore and move through. Didn't the NDCA make some statement regarding judges being involved with online events? Yes, they did. And then they changed their opinion, and we are positive with their changed opinion at the moment.
And we liked it, and we are grateful that in this pandemic time they were open-minded.
Yes, absolutely. Well, anything else that you guys would like to talk about? Any other tips or tricks or final kind of like thoughts that you want to leave people on today?
I would say one thing, what we said before, guys, take advantage of all the knowledge that is available for you right now, because it's amazing. From the top coaches for $20-$30, or some of them, they are offering like a monthly fee, and you can watch this unlimited times, or you can, like, if you want to see our camp, you get to watch this for a year, all those classes, as many times as you want to. And every time you will find something new. Don't sit and wait for this pandemic to be over and just think, oh, everybody else at home. No, people are learning. We have people everywhere. Slawek has another class today for another studio. We have people learning all the time. This is the time when you can improve yourself. This is the time when nobody's watching, you can make the biggest improvement in front of the computer, in front of the best in the industry. Trust your teachers. If you don't know who you should maybe work with, ask them for advice. It's not that we're going to lose you guys as a customers if you take a lesson from somebody in England or in Italy. This is just a perfect time when we can all learn from the best.
And that I will add to it is just because you're going to learn online, then the only way to actually learn it is then you have to go and try. And you don't have to go to the studio. So see, I watched some of the students that they will only practice when they had lesson with their teacher, and that's it. So now they actually, listen those informations, and now they have to practice by themselves. And that time is incomparable to what they used to do with their teacher, because now they, like we talked, they have to find those informations within their own body. So they end up probably practicing more than they used to, even if they don't have a dance studio. But that just proves that you don't have to have this huge space to dance. So we'll say keep dancing, keep learning, no matter what, because that's how you keep yourself excited. That's how you keep yourself busy and happy.
Yeah, and there were lectures about everything, about the technique, about musicality, about how to compete. You can find these days on social media so many amazing subjects. Anything that is bugging you. We got questions on our classes, how to practice. And people don't know how to practice. There are certain things people don't know how do we deal with the stress. So we had so many different things that people actually want to listen, and sometimes you don't have access and you don't know who to ask those questions. This is the time, guys. And it's literally, we watch Brian Watson, Carmen, Viveka Toft, Alan Tonsberg, they all gave Hasi Galka this motivational speech, how this is the time when we don't sit on our butt. This is the time when we work to go and show in front of everybody when the studios will open up how much better I got during this 3, 4, 5 months time.
Yeah, we just talked about with Marzena, we cannot wait when this all will be over and to see how students will look right now, because we know there's going to be a lot of changes. Some students might look way worse when they used to, and some way better than they used to. So, it's going to be sort of very kind of interesting and surprising.
And I believe last thing is that all the teachers that are teaching online right now, their eyes are going to be so much more picky when we will start judging.
So good luck, students.
Because we see so many more things. We don't just go for feeling anymore. We go for visual. So we pick on things that before maybe never bugged us, and we're like, whoa, wait a minute. This is something that it's visually always has been disturbing, but on a lesson, we never had time to work on this. So yeah, so really put your effort. $20 for most of those classes. It's not a lot. It's like I said before, it's few drinks at any juice bar, and
even one lesson a week, and just use this time. Just try to make as much as possible out of this one coaching session, and then move on to the next one. It's just you can always find the bright,
positive things,
right? Bright side of the story.
Don't look at the negativity. Just think what I can do to become much better right now.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Well, if you are interested in going ahead and taking one of those classes, might I recommend the Dance Vision Mastery Camp online. There will be a link down below. I also imagine that if you search hard enough online, you'll find a discount code for some of the online classes too.
We actually have it right now because we joined the Give Back to Dance. We offer 25% discount if you buy any package. So obviously we're already almost 2 months behind, but it still gives you a 25%. And I truly don't believe that this is very expensive camp, because you have over 100, I believe 30 or 40 classes total that you can choose from if you decide to buy entire camp, or you can buy by level or by single class or by style. So we made it so many different possibilities for you guys, and you can just find our page somewhere, and definitely you will find a give back to 25% discount.
Yep. So the link to the Dance Mastery Camp is below in the description. There's also a link to the Royal Ball below as well. So you can kind of keep an eye for when we hopefully hear an announcement that we will be back in 2021. If not, 2022, 2023. Some point in the future, we will be back on the dance floor together. But thank you guys so much for being on today.
Thank you. We had a great time with you, and it was a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope people found something useful out of all this talk, because at least we had fun, right? Yes,
exactly. That is the secret to this podcast, is I really just want to listen to some of the best amazing dancers in the world talk for an hour. So if no one else found value in it, I certainly did. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Samantha, for everything.
Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you were watching this on YouTube, take a second to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are halfway to 100. 100 is our goal. That way we can be a custom URL so we are easier to find. So if you have not already, please do hit that subscribe button. If you are listening to this in its podcast form, go ahead and either subscribe, favorite, do whatever it is the podcast platform is that you are using so that we see that engagement. You can find us across the web. Sorry, I'm Samantha with Love.Live.Dance. You can find us across the web at Ballroom Chat. That's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, although really I don't use Twitter that often. If you want to financially support this podcast, you can do so by going to patreon.com/ballroomchat, where you'll find exclusive behind-the-scenes content there as well. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe, stay positive, and I hope to see you dancing very soon. Bye, guys.